out more with Virginie Mazenev, CEO at MGA Consulting.
Oh, well, it's very clear. It's what I call China Phase 3, and how the world needs to adjust to this new geopolitical environment where China is affirming herself and its words and soft power. It's interesting as well to see. So it was not only about promoting green and Belt and Road and everything. It's also about saying I am a big partner in the world, and I need the room. And it's a message to the U.S. that collaboration needs to be probably stronger. It's interesting, and another thing that I thought was really important is also China's reach towards the Middle East, because that will probably unsettle the U.S., particularly towards Iran. So we are seeing this soft power, this geopolitical game shift, and we need to adapt to it. We need to work with it.
Yeah, I wrote down in my notes this morning a very Arivast moment for Xi Jinping, his favorite word of mine. To the market connotation from the ground in China, I was looking at iron ore this morning, $180 a ton. Look, I think this is the personification of constriction of supply and roaring growth. How do you play the expansionary mode that China is in, and the overall infrastructure globally that's going to come to bear? Do you take commodity exposure? Do you take direct exposure? Or do you live vicariously through the deployers in infrastructure?
No, so I think you have many ways. I think the approach that you've listed, you've just talked about, is really important. Diversification. So clearly, if you can do direct infrastructure, particularly if you can do direct green infrastructure, I think that's really important. And of course, the expansion is going to have to be over the long term around climate. So electric vehicle infrastructure, I like water. And interestingly, stocks like Anhui Conch, which are, cement is the base of everything, have lagged dramatically, and there's a lot of potential reasons to that. But they are stocks that are very cheap, that will allow you to get some exposure, albeit in a diversified way, to that growth. But it will shift, and it will be higher added value growth, and we've seen that in the last plan, that was discussed recently.
A group of the world's richest soccer clubs, including Manchester United, Real Madrid and Barcelona, sparked controversy this week when they announced plans for a European breakaway league. It heralds the sport's biggest shake-up in decades and could make elite teams even wealthier. We got the details with our senior editor, Derek Warbank.
Yeah, I think certainly you have to look at a lot of money when you start this conversation. Both in terms of money that's possible to be made in terms of TV rights and things like that, and securing those and keeping that closer to the clubs rather than having to go through intermediaries as much. But also I think in terms of security, in terms of guaranteeing that money is going to be there. As you know, in a European football, you can go up, you can go down. Results are what they are. Sometimes there's surprises. And in the top leagues, like in England, only 4 teams make the Champions League every single year. But 6 teams in England wind up budgeting, expecting Champions League football, right? Their math doesn't work as well if they don't get the Champions League, or various other things. And so it's no surprise then that those are the 6 that have gone forward and said, we want to be a part of this new Super League. In addition to that, you've got some of the biggest clubs in Spain and in Italy who are all looking for those marquee games, especially now as COVID has disrupted so much, including the financial models of world football.
Well, it's certainly whipped up a frenzy of response, hasn't it? Those perhaps with the most to lose, FIFA, UEFA, the European soccer arm, as well as their home country leagues. Even Boris Johnson saying it will strike at the heart of the domestic game and will concern fans across the country. And he talks about the principles of competition and sporting merit. So it's irked the PM. What can they do?
Well, I think you are going to see a lot of pushback on this. Start with the supporters groups for all of these clubs, and most of them have come out already and said that they're not fans of this. But in addition to that, you're going to be looking at UEFA pushing back, I think, pretty hard. There's been talk about banning these clubs from European competition right now. There's also some talk about maybe trying to prevent the players who are at these clubs from representing their country at the World Cup, and sort of disincentivizing the clubs in any number of ways to try and do this. Now, it should be noted here that UEFA is really, really keenly aware that some of these biggest clubs are, they're the money spinners, they're the money makers, right? Like, you want to see Real Madrid versus Liverpool. That's the game you want to see. Some of these minor ones, maybe not as much. And so they've already tried to move a little bit in their direction, but clearly not enough for this. So, yes, will be a lot of things, obstacles put in the way, but, we'll see how it goes. One thing real quick I would tell you is that you can watch sort of the money move on this, because Juventus, which is one of the Italian teams in this, is publicly traded, and Ajax, which is the Dutch team leading the opposition to it, is also traded. So watch how investors price this stuff going forward, both today, in the first trading day since then, and also as it moves forward.
Remember, you can catch Daybreak Middle East every Sunday to Thursday morning right here on Bloomberg Television. 8 a.m. Dubai time. Join us then. This is Bloomberg.
Just give you a sense of the real-time action. The 10-year yield tumbling now 11 basis points, so continuing in this knee-jerk risk-off field. Pandemic has changed billions of lives in countless ways. It's marked our day-to-day beyond recognition, converting the impossible to imagine into daily routines. Barren offices have left the busiest sections of cities abandoned, while unemployment and uncertainty plague economies. Faceless, masked populations observe a, quote, social distance, one of the many terms coined in the year of the pandemic. And while the outbreak has taught us a lot about limits, it's also shown how strong leadership can convert the once impossible into reality. Before last year, it was almost unheard of for a vaccine to be developed in under 5 years.
Hopefully we can move along rather rapidly to get an answer on a safe and effective in a timely manner, which I've said right from the beginning was likely to be a year to a year and a half.
Scientists across the world have managed to produce 9 effective coronavirus vaccines in 2020. One such drug is mRNA-1273. You'll know it as the Moderna vaccine. The drug bears the company's name. The leader is founder and chairman Noubar Afeyan. Today, he's based in Massachusetts, but Afeyan's path to the U.S. was all but straightforward. Afeyan was born in Beirut to parents who survived the Armenian genocide. Lebanon's civil war drove his family to Canada in the 1970s.